Hello and welcome back to the Jules with Gem podcast. I am your host GiGi and I hope you're doing well. I just want to thank you all so much for the support, your interest, your questions. It definitely goes such a long way. And whilst I do have your attention, please don't forget to hit that sub button to be notified when I do post new videos. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. And if you are new, welcome. So I wanted to continue the conversation around the planets and talk about them individually because I feel a lot of the time we're given such surface level definitions. For example, we are told, that the sun represents individuality and creativity. However, we don't even know what that means. It's like the sun can be in 12 different signs. So, a sun in Libra and a sun in Scorpio, for example, will express their creativity and individuality in vastly different ways. So it's like now that we have an understanding of the signs energies, now we can move on to the planets. So essentially there are 10 planets, namely the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Neptune, Uranus, Pluto, and Saturn. And then in your birth chart, we have 12 houses or 12 rooms or 12 parts or 12 sections, and these are known as the houses. In the houses, because there are 10 planets and there are 12 rooms, parts, sections to, your birth chart, there are going to be some rooms, pieces, parts to your chart that are going to be considered empty, only because of the fact that there aren't going to be planets in every single house. So obviously, because there's 10 planets and, there's 12 signs, so there will be some parts of your chart that will be, empty. But because there's 12 signs and there's 12 parts to your natal chart, you will have rulers to each and every room, to each and every house, to each and every section of that chart. So think of a pie chart and think of how and think of the 12 signs. So basically the 12 signs are the headings of each and every room, section, and house of that chart. So even though there aren't any planets, there will be rulers which can indicate the energies of that particular room, section, pick what you fancy, however you want to actually describe it. But just know that there are 12 sections, there will be 12 signs, and each of the houses will have headings. So they will have signs that will rule over that house. So for example, everyone has a house ruler of the 12th, the house ruler of the 11th house, a house ruler of the 10th house. So each and every house, each and every piece of your pie chart, if you will have a ruler over that particular house or that particular piece. So even if it is empty, you can still look up the ruler of that particular house. So let's say you've got Pisces in your 11th house or in the 11th part of your pie chart. That just basically means that you'll have, a lot of creative friends, or that you will attract a lot of people that are in the arts, or that you'll have friends that are in the arts, because remember, the 11th house is all about, friends, it's all about dreams, it's all about collaborations, basically. It's how we also attain wealth and things of that nature when we collaborate. But of course, I will go into depth when I do start the house series. But essentially, it's impossible to have all 10 planets in all 12 houses. So you'll find that some houses are more concentrated, and what I mean by that is that there will be more of a focus on a particular house because there's more planets in that house than there are in all of the other houses. So today we're going to be talking about Venus, which is the planet of love, or so we've been told. I think it actually rules just way more than just, love. I briefly spoke about the influence of Venus in the Libra and Taurus energy signs houses, signs videos, and I think now is an opportunity to just go that much deeper. So Venus is the planet that rules over Libra and Taurus, and what I actually notice is that Taurus represents what we value and what we find beautiful, and Libra represents relationships and balance. So in essence, Venus represents all of what I just mentioned. It represents our values, it represents our self-worth, our beauty, our relationships, and it also represents how we try and accumulate harmony and balance into our lives. And that is a much broader definition or explanation than it just being the planet of love. I mean, love in itself is so broad. I mean, you can have love between a parent and child, love between two partners, love for your art, love for your career, love for travel. There's so many ways that we can akin a lot of things to love. So essentially, there are so many facets, as I mentioned, to love, and what it looks like for everyone, is going to be vastly different to the next person, and we need to be quite open-minded and mindful of that. There are certain people that will value communication. There are people that will value quality time. Other people may even value gifts. Everybody's love language will be different to the next person. And I think that is the overall beauty of Venus. I think that is what Venus actually shows us. I will break this Taurus and Libra energy down again later on in the video as well. So Venus is a personal planet, as is the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, and Mars. And like I said, Venus naturally rules over Taurus and Libra. It also means that it rules over the 2nd and the 7th house. So whatever is in your 2nd and your 7th house, those are usually the houses that, the 7th will determine the types of partners that you may attract. So you may attract whatever energies lie in your 7th house, and then your 2nd house is kind of what you find, what brings you comfort, what brings you pleasure, what you measure your self-worth to, what your self-worth means to you, what your self-esteem is like. Is it, ever-changing? Is it stable? That kind of a thing will be represented in the 2nd house. And then it also rules money as well. So how you actually attain money by means of your own. Of course, I'm not talking about, anything else, but essentially how you use your talents, how you use your self-image, your self-worth, your values, things that you value, how you use those things to accumulate your own income. So, Venus, amongst other things, also represents divine feminine energy, how we give and receive love in our relationships, our creativity, our style, and also how we spend money as well, considering that Venus also rules money, and the 2nd house is all about money. It also represents our charm, which is also a Libran quality, and our social graces, which can also be attributed to Taurus. Venus also represents what we consider pleasurable, whether that be a hot bubble bath after a long day at work, with candles and incense, or just being surrounded by your favorite things. How we also experience our sensuality and our sexuality as well in some ways, whether that be through music, whether that be through dancing, or simply just eating. For example, if you have an Earth Venus, you're most probably enjoy money, because money brings you things of substance and things that you can afford, which can provide the luxury of the life that you actually want to live. If you have an air sign, or if you have an air Venus, then you probably enjoy communicating, and you most probably use your sense of humor to attract people to you. If you have a fire sign, you probably are loud with how you love and show affection, and most probably wear your feelings on your sleeve. A water Venus, on the other hand, probably just wants all of your attention, really. Just wants you to know that they can soak up your energy so easily, and honestly, it doesn't even matter if you're with them or not. Some things they're just able to pick up a lot of things, and they need a lot of reassurance because of this. Just imagine being a water Venus. You literally can pick up on the slightest mood the way somebody, if you're used to somebody texting you on a regular and all of a sudden you can sense that they're still keeping up with the texting on the regular, but the texting style is not the same. That's the kind of thing that I'm talking about here when I'm saying that they can pick up on energy so quickly, it will have your head spinning, literally. So a lot of reassurance is definitely needed here. Wherever we have Taurus in our chart is where it's where we are practical, where we are thrifty, maybe, because sometimes we can go a little bit overboard with Venus. It's also where we are grounded. It's also where people mostly look up to us, for support and understanding. It's also where we can inspire people, to become more authentic as well, to be their true selves. If you have any Taurus friends, they are usually the people that are the voices of reason. They're always ready to tell us to snap out of whatever funk we're in. And Libra, on the other hand, is the peacemaker who, they are really super chilled and would much rather not deal with conflict as much. And I don't even think it's that they don't want to deal with conflict. It's just that they don't want to have to take sides, because they know that it's never really that black or white in any situation. There's definitely a gray area in a lot of things when it comes to, deciding factors. So they have the ability to see all aspects of anything at any given time. They really are just here to show us how to become better people and to stand on the premise that love really is the highest vibration, as we all feel, inexplicable feelings when operating under love. Honestly, we do. Venus also represents how we want to connect with people and how we may fall in love with those qualities, as they are in line with what we actually deem to be valuable. So, for example, a Venus in Sagittarius would feel comfortable with a partner that is more spontaneous, would be a friend first and foremost, that is confident, and one that enjoys traveling and talking about politics and a bit of philosophy as well. They would be able to connect with that partner on all levels, whereas a Venus in Pisces, for example, would much rather connect through art, fashion, meditation, lots of moments spent alone together. It's really like Venus in Pisces is really just a merging of the souls, point blank, period. That is really what it's all about. A Venus in Pisces can feel as though they need to have an inexplicable connection with their partner, and that's the only time they'll actually surrender to love. That is why it's so difficult for them to fall in love in the first place, and even to fall out of love in the first place, because it's like, it's not every day that you have connections with people, that are essentially out of this world. And I say all of this to say, when observing Venus, it is very likely that what we will find pleasurable through the things that we find in love, we are essentially falling in love with ourselves, if that makes any sense. Because it's like, if Venus represents what our values are, what we deem to be worthy, what makes us feel good, how we empower ourselves essentially, then we would fall in love with the same qualities that we would find in other people, right? It kind of makes sense in my head, but in some capacity we are falling in love with ourselves. And I think that's why it feels so amazing to be in love at times, because we fall in love with another person's actions that resembles us. And when that changes, that's when we feel really hurt, because it's like now the veil has been lifted and you're kind of disappointed, because now you're faced with the dark side, kind of. And a lot of us don't really want to face the dark side. We don't want to get that deep. Like, it's not that deep. Some of us don't want to some of us don't want to have those experiences with people because, people are people at the end of the day, and people are going to do what is best for them and what makes them happy. And sometimes it's not what is going to make everyone else around them happy. So we need to face the facts a lot of the times when it does come to love, especially when it does change and morph over time, because as you guys always know, the only constant is change. So when change happens in a relationship, it can be a major blow to one's ego, and it's felt much deeper than anything else that happens in our lives, because essentially we've allowed ourselves to fall in love with ourselves. That is why, breakups will really just top a person's self-esteem completely upside down, and, we start re-evaluating our entire existence because of it. And the point really is here that we would have found value in that person. We've invested in that person, and now it's like you have nothing to show for it, especially if the relationship has been quite long, maybe over 5, 6, 7, 8, even a 10-year period. You get out of that relationship and really you've got nothing to show for it except for the lessons that you have to go through, and you have to learn and look back and be like, okay, the relationship is over, yes, but these are the things that I have learned because of it, etc., etc. It's only until we heal and we grow a new set of eyes through which to look at the past with. So it's only after some time has passed we can look back in hindsight and be like, okay, we did have a good run, we had some amazing memories, it was great, but what can I take from this? What did I actually learn from this experience? And that is really what Venus is all about. So if you're someone who hasn't done their shadow work, which I believe a lot of us, haven't done, it's really a hard thing to actually start doing, because who wants to work with their shadow self? Honestly, it's not really something that is particularly a walk in the park. It's not something that is going to be exciting, really. There's going to be a lot of dark moments, and I think the worst part, or rather the most uncomfortable part of doing your shadow work, is the fact that there is no ending. It's not a destination. When you come to the point where you've healed certain parts of yourself, you'll discover whilst you are healing that there are also other parts that do trigger you, because that's what relationships are all about. You do get triggered in relationships, and whatever triggers you is what actually needs to be solved through shadow work. And shadow work is just basically integrating your negative self with your positive self. So, if you're one of those people who hasn't done that work yet, or you're still in denial, about people having a shadow side, then this is going to be a bitter pill to swallow. People, like I said, have both negative and positive sides to their personalities, and I think the ultimate goal here should be to integrate those sides instead of isolating them. Because when we are in relationships, or when we're relating to people tend to mirror us. They can mirror us in a good way, they can mirror us in a negative way. Either way, they are showing us our dark side sometimes. And the more we isolate it is the more it piles up, and the more it piles up is the more it begins to control us and becomes very obvious in our dealings with other people. And that's when really, the honeymoon phase starts to fizzle out. And now all of a sudden people are being called toxic because they don't want to deal with their inner parts. All of a sudden that person is toxic for calling you out on a behavior that other people have tolerated, and now you're with somebody that is just not going to tolerate that and is telling you to do better because they see better in you. But this only applies, of course, to people that are healthy, to people that are in a healthy relationships, and to people that are with, people that actually have their best intentions at heart. This is not for people who are actually toxic and just want to play the blame game and that just want to be victims. No, I'm actually talking about people that are serious in a committed relationship and actually want a healthy relationship. So if you are in one of those relationships and you do have somebody calling you out on your ish, and you haven't done your shadow work, it's definitely going to come as an offense. It's definitely going to come as though somebody's attacking you, when really they're just showing you another part of yourself that has yet to be dealt with. And it really would be a pleasant experience, not really, but you get what I'm saying, because eventually you will grow from that experience. So it would be beneficial for you to actually take it with a pinch of salt and see how you can actually become better from that, because essentially that's what we need to be doing. We need to be growing. And like I said, it's absolutely crucial that we are with someone that would be able to accept those parts of us regardless, as we all have them. I mean, at the end of the day, honestly, we all want somebody that's going to be there no matter what. No matter if you're going through one of your bad days and you're really just not feeling your confident, sexy self, you really just want somebody to still be there and, sit with you through those moments, instead of having an attitude of, just snap out of it. Why are you feeling like that? I mean, we all have days where we're not feeling particularly great. Honestly, this is the thing. It's not something new. So I think overall we can come to the conclusion that Venus really is a mirror, because we choose people based on our values and our self-worth, and all of that will be mirrored right back to us, whether that be negative or positive, and usually it'll be a blend of both, if, like I said, you're in a healthy relationship. If you're not in a healthy relationship, then it will just kind of be like you will just be shown all the negative parts of yourself. But the nice thing about it is that if you have done the shadow work and somebody's showing you negative things, then it will be easier to identify, and it will be easier for you not to be able to relate to it, because you'd know that it's not coming from you, and that in fact it is a projection of somebody else's feelings onto you. It would kind of be like, okay, no, I've dealt with this already, so I know this is not me. I know this is not coming from me. And that's why it's so important to do this work, because you'd be able to see right through certain actions, whether that be good or positive. And if somebody is showing you a negative side to themselves, which is eventually being reflected back to you, it would be easier for you to even assist that person and be like, okay, I know you're feeling this way, but I really don't think you should be projecting that energy towards me. I really think that maybe this is what could help you, and in turn be helping each other, because really that's what we are, right? When we are in a relationship, we are helping each other. I always make the example of a ship. Like, a ship has thousands and thousands of parts to it, that helps it glide across the ocean and get to where it needs to get to, travel across the seas to where it needs to get to. So that is essentially a relationship. Every time I see something ending with ship, I already know that it's going to need thousands and thousands of little pieces that need to work together, essentially. And if one part is not working, it really does affect the smoothness of, are we going to get there together, or are we going to get there much faster or much slower? It all just depends really on how we integrate the energies and how well we work together. Essentially, I think relationships should be about that. It should be about how well we work together, how well we can solve our issues, how well we communicate. And from there, it's just, a matter of time as to whether those relationships will work or not. Because remember, relationships, even when they do have those mechanisms in place, it still can fall apart, really. It still can, because people change, people grow, people outgrow each other. At the end of the day, we still need to have the ability to detach from people where necessary. So like I said, it will, if there are anything, really will be mirrored right back to you, whether that be negative or positive. And I think that's what we tend to forget about people, that people, we attract who we are, essentially, because we've decided to be in relations with people because we've seen a bit of ourselves in those people. So naturally, that's just how the dice is going to roll. Venus is also the ruler of the throat. So you'll find that a lot of Taurians or even Librans have a really nice voice. They can sing really well, or they're just very artistic and just have nice voices to listen to. This will also be increased if they have an aspect from Mercury, as this would give the person a really, really nice voice. And like I said, I'm definitely going to be talking about aspects because I love aspects. I love to read charts and really get to know more about people, astrologically speaking. Altogether, I think a Venusian person will be very into experiencing life through their five senses. So definitely really good food to entice their sense of taste, really nice fabric, for their sense of touch, really pleasant smells, vanillas, incense, perfumes, flowers, and last but not least, and definitely the most important, I would say by far, is their sense of hearing. They just simply love good music. They have a special connection with music. Most even mature with their love of music and become musicians, songwriters, composers, music directors, and the likes. They additionally have a sixth sense as well, which can be attributed to having a good eye and just kind of knowing what looks good instinctively. Venus is also the type of style you have, whether that be edgy, whether it's dark, light, bohemian, tomboyish, all of that has to do with Venus. Whatever you feel good in, whatever makes you feel comfortable in, that would be your Venus. So Venusian people intuitively know what is good for the soul most of the time, and not only for themselves but for others as well. So you'll find a lot of Taurian, Libran people, they love to give gifts, but not just any random gifts. They'll gift you with things that, if they are Taurus, are practical, that you may use in your everyday life, but there will still be a sense of pleasure to it. And with a Libra, they'll just really get you really nice things, maybe even really nice expensive things. Honestly, also Taurus, they'll also give you really nice expensive things. So just depends on your taste as well and what type of a person you are. Now, Venus is the most comfortable when it is in Pisces, and it's actually exalted, as we would say in astrology, when it is in Pisces. And what this just means is that it's, operating at its premium. So Pisces is very romantic, it's very creative, extremely feminine, extremely sensual. You could just say a Venusian goddess, essentially, because no matter what, these people always bounce back. No matter what, these people always look good. No matter how many heartbreaks they could go through, they always have some love to give. Constantly, always, they'll just constantly always have the ability to bounce back. They are just always ready to operate under the influence of love. They're always ready to give, like I said, and they willingly give regardless of whether they will get it back or not. I think these are the people that genuinely just understand everyone, and people sometimes look at them how do you even understand me, in such a deep way? And it's just the way it is, because Venus is the last sign. So essentially we have a little bit of every sign, so we understand you. We really do. I have a Venus in Pisces, and I find that, I'm able to relate to a lot of people. I mean, my friends, for example, when I look at my friends are from different walks of life. Almost all of them are from different walks of life. I don't know. If I were to have a party, it would really be interesting to have all of my friends at my party, because I don't even know if most of them would even relate to each other, because everybody's so vastly different, and I like it that way. My moon in Gemini also likes it that way. But really and truly, their love is unconditional, and it just surpasses all boundaries. And there's really this deep need for a merge to happen. We really want to be with somebody that wants to be with us just as much. We really just want to, whatever we pour out, we would love to be poured back into us as well. I think it's only fair And I think this is one of the ways that Pisces can actually maintain healthy boundaries with people. Whatever they're pouring out onto people, they at least need to be giving it, they need to be receiving it back, because some of the time we really give so much, we pour so much out that we can also become, I don't want to say dehydrated, but we really do become low in that energy, because it's like we're giving and giving and giving, and like probably 24/7 as much as we can, that we barely have time to recharge and kind of go into solitude and get all of that love and all of that kindness and all of that compassion back to ourselves. So like I said, it's really unconditional. It surpasses all boundaries. I mean, we could love you so much even though we know you're bad for us, honestly, until we get to a point where we're like, okay, we're taking off the rose-colored glasses. That is the only time that we can be like, okay, no, this is probably not the best person for me to be with. But yeah, they definitely want to merge with their partners. I mean, it's like an all or nothing type of vibe here. The connection definitely has to be there. If there's no connection, you can forget it. That's why a lot of the times it's kind of very hard for them to have connections with other people at the same time, because it's like you don't really come across these connections with everybody, right? So if they were to cheat, it would be because there was a connection that was established, or actually, let me just leave it at that. There was a better connection that was established, period. And I think this is the reason why they also need a lot of reassurance, because of the fact that they are sensitive to any changes. Remember, these people are also like chameleons, so they can change and really go with the flow. They really are able to go with the flow and just kind of be, I wouldn't say la la land, but they're still present, in the 3D, but they also have access to the 5D. So a lot of the times it can seem as though they are present, but really in their mind they are, 9 dimensions above their current dimension. So that's very possible with them. That's why it always seems like they are in their heads most of the times, like their heads are in the clouds most of the time, like they are dreaming. They probably not dreaming, they probably just fantasizing about a reality that has not become real to you as yet. So I think that I just needed to say that, because a lot of the times I hear so many negative things about Venus in Pisces, and I'm just like, if only you guys could understand. A lot of the times when people are talking about Piscean energy, I don't think that people actually understand the depth of this placement, or any Pisces placement actually. But anyway, they are extremely intuitive and usually know what people around them need and happily do whatever needs to be done. This is definitely true. I mean, it's so easy for us to just know what it is to do. It's so easy for us to just know how to make people feel comfortable, know how to make them happy, know what to do to make them laugh. We just know. We just be knowing. Okay, don't ask us how, but yeah, we know how to make people around us undeniably comfortable, undeniably spoiled. Like, it's just something that comes to us intuitively. We don't know how, but it is what it is. It is a mutual sign as well, so therefore it's easy for us to empathize with the pains and the struggles that a lot of people around us go through. Sometimes we even take it up as our own, and a lot of the times it can get difficult to distinguish between what is our feelings and where our feelings start and where our feelings end, because like I said, the integration, the merging is so strong here. So it's so easy to become really intertwined with that individual to the point where you can negatively lose yourself in somebody else, which of course can work to your detriment if you're dealing with somebody that does not have your best interest at heart. So In my next video, I'll be discussing Mars, the planet of action, passion, and all things go, 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 and how that correlates to your birth chart. And on that note, thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Show me some love and subscribe to my channel. Again, your time spent is much appreciated. Till next time, you know what you do. So keep doing what you do. Peace, love, and most of all, light. I'm out.